Hello and welcome to another edition of AttractWell Office Hours. I'm Coach Ashley, joined today by founder of AttractWell, Greg. Hey, Greg.
Hey everyone, Happy New Year. We're glad you're here today.
Yeah, Happy New Year. We're excited to be here. It's January 2nd, 2025. Got to get used to saying that five. How surreal is it to you guys that this is a brand new year? Are you feeling prepared? Are you excited? What does this year have in store for you? I'm excited to hear what that looks like. Head over into the chat, say hello, and let us know what your big goals and visions are for yourself and your business in this awesome new year. So today we are, in keeping with the new year, we're going to be talking about what it looks like to work intentionally. Specifically, we're going to talk about how to design your ideal workday, how to go into every day with confidence and clarity so that you can approach the work that needs to be done in a way that will move the needle forward for you, but will also happen in such a way that you're able to experience flow, right? Where you're able to feel really good about the work that you're doing. You're not scrambling, you're not hustling, and you certainly aren't falling into any anti-productive rabbit holes, unless, of course, those are things that you like to do in time that you have intended to do it. Welcome. Don't be shy. Head over into the chat, say hello, let us know where you're coming in from and what your goal is this year. Greg and I are going to pop out a video, and I've got some slides prepared for you here today. I also have a couple of folks signed up for live work today. So we've got a live review of a funnel, and I think we might, Carol, if you're here, be chatting as well about a rebrand. So we've got some interesting discussion following this topic here today as well. So let's get into it. Today, we are talking about how to design your ideal workday. We're going to be talking a bit about time blocking and using calendars for this purpose. And then, of course, where your availability is concerned, we're going to talk about how to connect that into AttractWell. Lots of great stuff here today. So today, we're going to talk about designing your ideal workday, of course. We're going to talk about how we can go about designing our ideal workday so that every workday can be an ideal workday. We'll talk about using AttractWell to work smarter, and of course, we'll get into some live help and Q&A. So as you're here, please do add questions to the Q&A if those questions come up for you. This is a live review call, so we actually get to work together on this call. If there's something that you do have questions about, best that you put those there, even if they don't have to do with today's subject matter. Feel free, just make sure they're in the Q&A because the chat can get a little busy. And speaking of, if you would like to join us in this awesome call that we host every Thursday at 2 p.m. US Eastern Time, you can go to attractwell.com/office hours. These replays are uploaded to YouTube when we're done, but these are just such a great opportunity to spend time live, get real feedback, get your questions answered, and meet this incredible, inspiring community. So I hope you'll join us if you're watching this as a replay. If you'd like to work together like two people will do with me today, you can go to attractwell.com/work review and reserve your own spot on the second half of an upcoming office hours call. And if you'd like for our team to do some work for you, we've got you covered. attractwell.com/concierge is where you're going to want to go to sign up for a no obligation consult. And then, of course, discuss whatever the quote might be that you need for work in your business. Now, get into the chat. I want to hear this from you. What does an ideal workday look like for you? If you think about just waking up and getting to work on a day that you will be working your business, what does that day look like for you? And don't just think about how you spend your productive hours doing actual work. Think about what the balance will look like, right? Think about what all you want to have in your day. Ooh, I love it. Lots of time with the horses. See, it's important to know what you want, right? And if you can design an ideal workday, then that is one that ideally is going to allow you to incorporate things that you know that you want outside of work. So awesome. Keep it coming there in the chat. All right, so let's talk first about this, why the way we work doesn't often work, right? First, and I think that we're all very familiar with this as an idea, we are in reactive mode, right? How many times have you sat down to do something and then 45 minutes later, you have come back to realize that you haven't even started on that thing, but you've done other things, you've been busy, right? You've been busy the entire time, but you haven't actually done the thing that you set out to do when you started. That is a symptom of being in reactive as opposed to proactive mode in your business. And essentially what that means is that we are allowing circumstance to dictate our labor. It is a way of working in your business, not on your business. You're getting things done, but you're allowing that to dictate you and not the other way around. Another trap we can fall into is how we go about working and whether or not we are working that plan, right? Do we have defined projects? Do we have defined tasks? Do our goals connect to these things? I did a training a couple of, would have been about a month ago on this. If you haven't seen that yet, highly recommend that you check that out. There is a sort of hierarchical structure, right? Where you have a goal and then what makes that goal achieved? Well, the goal is achieved by the completion of projects. What achieves completion of projects? Tasks. So the things that we do, the tasks, the stuff that we do every day should be directly related to a project in furtherance of a goal, right? Most of us don't necessarily work that way. We sit down and we decide that we're going to do a thing because we think it's a thing that we need to do or because something popped up and we're in reactive mode and we aren't working intentionally. And along the same lines there, if our tasks that we're performing aren't clearly tied to our goals, we're just doing stuff, right? And that's fine. And that can get you a decent bit of momentum, right? Like you can move ahead, but it's not sustainable, right? We're not going to grow in leaps and bounds if all we're doing is spinning our wheels. And if we are just showing up and performing tasks every day that aren't specifically tied to our projects that are in furtherance of goals, we're just working, we're not working a plan, right? And then finally, this is something that really creates a problem for, I would say, all of us here. We all desire to have a business that we grow in virtual space, right? So we're showing up online on social platforms, we're in our inboxes, we're probably opting into and observing the marketing of different leaders and businesses, right? And what we often fall into is a dopamine trap, meaning we will have things that we ought to do. And maybe those things are a little bit uncomfortable for us. And we decide to not do them, right? And it's not an active decision. We're simply favoring something that fills our time in a way that's more rewarding to the part of our brain that's looking for those quick dopamine hits, right? So that's really what procrastination is. Procrastination is the avoidance of a thing you know you need to do in favor of other things that aren't really quite as important or that are a little bit more attractive in the moment, right? So an ideal workday is one that's going to get things done in a way that resonates with the way you want to work, right? So that you can feel accomplished and truly be accomplished, but doing so in a way that really creates balance for you, right? So an ideal workday fundamentally is going to be something that's intentional. It's not something that's just figured out the day of, right? You don't just wake up and say, I'm going to have an ideal day. An ideal day is planned. It is intentional, right? It's built ahead of time. And if we do this right, every day we work, and you obviously don't have to work every day, but every day you choose to work can be an ideal work day. So let's get to work designing yours. So the first thing that we need to do if we are going to design an ideal work day is get clear on what it is that our work is. Right? And if you want to know what your work is, you have the nature of the work that you have, and you have the goals in place that you have set for your business. And again, we did do a goal setting and planning training a few weeks back. So definitely check that out for a little bit more in-depth guidance on that if you're unclear on what your goals are. But generally speaking, you should have goals that are set roughly on a quarterly basis where you're super clear on what you are looking to accomplish in this period of time, right? And that means in that period of time, you've got a goal, and that goal is broken down into projects that need to be completed either on a one-time or ongoing basis to reach that goal. And then, of course, projects are made up of tasks. So get this hierarchical structure clear so that you know what you are working on and always know what this is, right? You also need to make sure that you are establishing timelines for your projects. And this again goes back to the idea that our goals need to be clear and they need to be right now relevant, right? So you can have a goal of, I want to, earn $1 million in 2025, but if you haven't earned $100,000 yet, that goal might be something that you set for something a bit longer than 12 months, or you're going to want to really break down what those projects are that are going to help you reach that income goal quickly, right? So you're going to want to break that down in the beginning. The work is going to look very different in quarter 1 than it is going to be in quarter 3 as you get closer to the realization and achievement of that goal, right? So you want to have timelines for your projects so that they are actually completed inside of set periods of time. And then you want to allocate for that time to work your projects in your calendar. You do want to make sure that your goals incorporate and prioritize visibility for your business. So this is going to be your online presence. So having a website, showing up on different platforms, and having authority content. So this means publishing. This is your blog. This is guest posting on other people's blogs or on different content channels. This is having longer form content on places like YouTube or having a podcast. Having authority, credibility, visibility should be one of the goals that you're incorporating. Okay. One of the other ones that you want to make sure that you're incorporating and prioritizing, keeping in the balance of things, is engagement. And this is going to be you networking to grow your business. This might be specifically with prospective clients. It could be with prospective referral resources for your future clients, right? This also needs to be active prospecting. We are not simply doing and if they build it, they will come here, right? We're not just simply building a website and assuming people are going to find their way to it. We do need to be putting ourselves out there. We need to be soliciting conversations, right? And building relationships and moving ourselves closer to the achievement of those goals. It's not just about building things. It is about getting out there and creating and nurturing relationships. Speaking of which, if you are growing a list, which is part of this strategy, then you want to make sure that you're prioritizing some time to mail your list on a consistent basis. And then, of course, to show up on those social channels and actually engage, right? So just make sure you're going to have goals. Make sure that these are 2 categories of goals that you are engaging with on an ongoing basis. It's going to make sure that you get everything done and your business grows at the same time. All right. So once you're clear on the work that you actually need to be doing within, let's just start with the next quarter, then you can start seeing, what do I need to do week over week, right? Once you're clear on the work, we can begin designing your days. So this begins with a digital calendar. I want you to use a digital calendar to block out your day. Hey, let me know, by the way, maybe in the chat, let me know, do you use time blocking? Is this something that you're familiar with? Have you utilized time blocking as a time management strategy at any point previously? So if you have, then this is going to be really familiar to you. You might learn a couple of new things depending on how you go about it. If you're not familiar, please pay attention. This is going to change your life. I promise. If you do something with what I share with you here today, this is going to change what productivity looks and feels like to you. All right, so let's talk about this. Time blocking. And by the way, I can't take credit for this. This is something that tons of people are out there teaching, and there are even better qualified folks to teach this. I'm going to show you, because I also am a coach and create content and do a lot of the things that you guys do. You're going to see how this works from my perspective, and you're going to learn how this connects to AttractWell. All right, so use a digital calendar, right? Use a cloud supported calendar. That's my first recommendation here. So if you have an Apple computer, you're going to use Apple Calendar. I also very specifically use a Google Calendar account that I feed into my Apple Calendar. I am probably not like the majority of you in that I have 7 or 8 email addresses that I maintain for different purposes, and some of them have their own separate calendars. So you'll see that in some ways I'm a little bit of an outlier, but the way that I'll share with you here today, I think this is all going to be pretty straightforward for you. All right, just make sure that it's cloud supported, because this is not just about your work. This is about how your work allows you the time to do everything else that you want, right? To get all the benefits of working for yourself and all of the benefits of owning a business, right? I want you to not just get things done. I want you to have the life that getting things done gives you. So you want to be able to have this show up on your phone when you're away from your computer, or if you're somebody who is sometimes at a desktop and maybe you like to work from a coffee shop or whatever, this needs to be something that follows you everywhere. So cloud supported. Got it? Okay. Now, the next thing we're going to do is create a framework for the days of your work week based on how you want to spend your time. Now, this might sound a little confusing, so I am actually going to screen share right now my actual calendar and show you how I do this. All right, and I will be kind of going back and forth between calendars and screens and all of that. So, all right, what you're looking at right now is a framework. Now, none of this represents my actual appointments that I have set with people. And this does not necessarily mean, for instance, like if you see that I have work starting at 8 a.m. and ending at 5, I don't work 8 to 5 every single day, but I am creating space for work to be able to happen. And I'm doing so with blocks of time that can be deleted, moved around, right? Or modified based on my needs for that particular week. So what you're seeing here is an actual complete representation of how I have set a framework for the day out. Now, almost everything is allocated for. I do have like an hour and 15 minutes after dinner and before I start getting into a nighttime routine where I don't have anything put there. That's kind of on purpose, right? That's for family time, or if we decide to go out to dinner or something like that, then there's some free space there. And again, because I have this blocked out so heavily, it doesn't mean that free space doesn't exist. In fact, if we were to look at last week, or actually this is this week, yesterday was a holiday. I just deleted everything and marked myself unavailable, and we did other stuff. So I can actually show you. So for instance, like here's my personal work, and here's like scheduled work or things that I've planned for and allocated. And I'll talk to you about how you can create these different, color-coded calendars here in just a bit. But this is essentially what you want to do. You want to create an ideal framework for yourself, and I want you to include everything that matters to you. So I have, waking up and getting ready to go to the gym, and then actually going to the gym and then working in the different parts of the gym that I want to work in. And then I've got my morning routine. I have lunch worked in here. I've got the way that I work. Right. So I have live broadcasts that I run on Thursdays. And so that day looks a little bit different from the others. I've got some wrap up that's scheduled, to kind of take spillover, or again, that can become my free time if I've got everything done that needs doing. Right. So this is what a framework would look like. Okay. Now, I'm going to get into more of the intricacies of this in just a moment, but I want to make sure that we're clear on what that looks like first. So I want you to create a framework that represents how you want to spend your time. Okay. Now, again, make sure that you've got non-work activities included in those schedule blocks. Account for lunch, account for your morning routine, account for the time it takes for you to get to the gym, right? All of that kind of stuff, right? Now, from there, we're going to design our calendar system. So we have our framework in place, and the way that we're going to get these done is to create multiple calendars on the same account. I do this with Google Calendar, and I will show you exactly how in just a moment, but here's what we want to do. We're going to create multiple calendars on the same account. We're going to color code these calendars. And again, it's not creating a different account. You're still logged in, right? I've got my one Google email that has that framework that I call daily template. Right. And then I've got one that is project work. This could be work generally. I just call it work generally. I think that there's a solid case for breaking work down into specific color-coded projects, right? So if you've got a marketing one, if you've got, a website work one, right? You could actually break the project work into different colored categories if that helps you. Meetings, which I don't think you necessarily have to do if this is a time of day, like if, for instance, you're going to have focus time in the morning and you are not bookable in the morning on Monday, Tuesday, and Friday, but in the afternoon you're bookable, then you could have a meetings block. But this could be redundant because if you're using AttractWell to allow people to book on your calendar, then this isn't something that you necessarily need to have. Personal, absolutely need to have this because you want to be able to block in the stuff that you want to include. And then things that are related specifically to your growth. So this would be trainings. This would maybe be some time that you spend reading, writing, right? Attending calls like this one, right? So this is what I'm referring to here. And from here, I'm going to actually pop over to the Google Calendar and actually show you what this looks like. So this is, I don't know if this has everything on it. Yeah, let me just go ahead and include, there we go. There's family. So even like my husband's school schedule is on here. So I grab all of this and keep it all together. But you can actually see that, like, I've got, for instance, every month I have an entire, and actually I've done this for the whole quarter. I have a study plan for myself. Right now, I'm really digging back into yogic philosophy. And so I've created a plan for myself where I've got a week-long event every week, and I've got specific things that I'm reading that week. I've got a mantra. I've even got an essential oil that I'm using. When I'm, doing that study, and I've got prompts and all of this stuff, I use ChatGPT to create that. So I've got that. And so that is color coded here to growth. And so I'm giving myself 15 minutes or so, 20 minutes in the morning, meditate, maybe read to start my day with that. And I'm also closing my day with it, right? And so I've got, again, just seeing the study plan, I've got that incorporated. Now, as someone asked, are you doing house cleaning and dinner prep in 1 hour? I'm not cleaning the house 7 days a week. I'm just like creating space for it. And thankfully I have a former chef husband who helps carry some of the weight there. So it's not always me doing it. But yeah, let's take a look at this, how I created these calendars, right? Because these are all the calendars over here on the left-hand side. Right here where it says other calendars, you can click the plus sign and you can go and create a new one. So if I want to say, this is my work, but I want to maybe dedicate this to content creation, because I know that that is something that I need to be engaging with on a consistent basis for this quarter, because I've got specific goals. I would actually maybe name this to something that is project specific. So if my project for this quarter, I want to maybe next quarter, I want to launch a membership. So I'm going to call this membership. And I am going to create this calendar. All right, and then I can go configure it. And I need to first give it a color, because right now it's like the same color, well, almost the same color as growth. So I can change the color of this. I can, do all kinds of other stuff. I'm only using it for myself, right? So let me just go back to settings here. And now you can see membership is here. I'll change the color maybe to like this gray. And maybe I want to allocate time on my calendar to specifically working on the membership that I want to launch next quarter. So what that would look like is, let's go ahead and let's see, I'm looking at next week's work periods here. So I can go ahead and create an event using that. I don't love doing this with Google Calendar though. I wanted to come over here just to show you how you can build out these custom calendars for yourself and color code them the way that you want them. All right. Let me get back over to the calendar so that you can see, let me see, share, there we go. So let me show you, I'll show you work. And I think I would have to actually close this out and refresh for it to be able to show that additional calendar that I created. So bear with me for just a moment. I'm gonna reset my calendar app. And by the way, I am on a slightly older Mac for what it's worth. It might take a moment to update. All right, so what you want to do first, create those different calendars, okay? And they're going to be color coded. They're all in the same account. Create a daily template. So set up that framework. When do you want to wake up? When do you want to work out? When is lunch? What periods of the day do you want to be doing work, etc. Right? And then we're going to set events to repeat so you don't have to reinvent the wheel. Let me show you something real quick that's really important, especially if you are going to make your schedule available for others to book. Okay, so here I'm looking at next week. I haven't actually put much on here just because I knew I wanted to show you guys this. These are recurring actually, but I'll get to that in a moment. So our framework is this kind of background gray beige color, right? So my workday is going to start 8 a.m. at the earliest because I'm doing all my other stuff beforehand. And so I'm not going to allow my calendars, for instance, to show that I'm available anytime before 8 a.m. But if you actually look at this, you can see that this is repeating every week on Monday and Tuesday. And very importantly, I am shown as busy. This means that I am not bookable. Okay, that means that people cannot get this time on my calendar. Now, could I change that? Sure. But I have these other mornings that I have made myself available in that time slot. Now, my peak time for really getting things done is actually between 10 and noon. This is based on data that I've gathered on myself using the apps that I use for many years. So this is time that I generally don't allow myself to be bookable, and I am doing really dedicated work, right? This is where I am most productive. So I am going to save this for my most productive time. So here I've got some recurring work that I do once a month. And so this is actually showing up here, layered over the top of the framework. But then I've got my other periods of time where I can be more flexible, take calls, etc. Right? Now I also have, I'll go ahead and show this, where I have recurring calls, right? So I'm running a 6-week boot camp for our other platform. I've got that allocated, right? So there's my kickoff tomorrow, and then I've got that set up here to go weekly. So all of these are recurring. So I don't have to recreate my calendar every single week. I actually need to fix that. But that's the idea, right? Like you want to make sure that you are setting yourself as available when you want to be available for calls, being booked specifically, and when you want to make yourself busy. Then when it's time to create work, let's just say, for instance, that I want to work on membership, right? Which is now in my calendar. So there's membership. I'm going to give myself maybe a 2-hour block. And I need to actually, here, let me stretch this to the correct amount of time. And I'm going to give myself 2 hours during my peak focus time on Monday, next Monday, to do this. And this is going to be called, this is coded for membership, but I'm going to be doing something very specific. So this is where you would actually list your tasks. So this is going to be, I'm going to map out membership content and build welcome campaign. Right? So I know because of the, I don't know why it keeps doing that. All right, so I know because of the color, what it's associated with. And of course, I am defining what the work is specifically. And if I can even go in and give myself some specific notes, add URLs, etc. Okay, so what I want you to do is to map your work out that you know you want to do. That's how you're able to create your ideal workday, because you're giving yourself space to do the things that you know you need to do while providing yourself the space to do what you want to do. And in that way, you're paying yourself first with your time, and then you're able to get things done in between, right? So from that point forward, you can plan your week or your month. And the thing is, if you're going about this the way that I just shared, you can have your entire quarter planned after you've got your daily template set up. And your calendars in place. You can plan your quarter in 30 minutes, right? And then you can know what you're doing every day, which is pretty cool, right? So I want you to create time blocks for those tasks like I just showed you. So you're going to use those color-coded calendars to plan your work week and allow yourself enough time to to complete the priority tasks. Make sure that you are doing the things that you might be avoiding, right? Set specific time aside for those things and making sure that you're prioritizing the things that keep you in people's inboxes and keep more of those people showing up and opting into you. So that's prioritizing, again, your visibility, your engagement, and of course, if you have clients, your client work, and any scheduled appointments that you may have. You want to create blocks for specific task completion and then add those details, which is what I just showed you in the calendar. And make sure that you're separating out things like checking email and social media. These are the #1 time and focus robbers of our attention and our bandwidth. So if you've got notifications that are popping up while you're trying to do a thing, then you are in reactive mode. You're putting out fires instead of working intentionally. So I highly recommend that you are setting aside 15 minutes. Literally block your time for checking your email. I've gotten to the point where I don't need to do this anymore, but in the beginning, I 100% had to do that. because I was continually checking notifications throughout the day. And I'm not even somebody who uses social media. So if you use social media, this can rob you of your day. So just be really aware of that and consider using focus settings on your device or use a specialized software to minimize distractions during your time blocks. Again, I use an Apple computer and this is a slightly older operating system. I'll be upgrading fairly soon. Yay. But this is, for instance, like in Apple, you've got your focus settings, and I've actually gone in and I've created a work focus. My kid's the only one that can interrupt me. They do a pretty good job of not doing that. I've got a couple apps that are allowed, and then everything else is blocked out. There are only certain emails or email addresses that will show up in my inbox during this time. I'm only going to have those ones that are relevant to the work that I'm doing during those periods, which is pretty powerful. I also use, and I'm not, sponsored by them or anything, but I use a software called Rescue Time, which has been indispensable for me. I've used them for almost 5 years to not just keep myself focused by eliminating distractions in a digital sense, but it also provides really useful data. So when I tell you that I know that my most productive periods of time in the day are 10 a.m. It's actually till about 2 p.m. I know that because I've been tracking this stuff for years using that software, and it's like $100 a year, and it's worth every penny. If you're doing if you're doing creative work, if you're someone doing creative work, it is indispensable. Okay, so if your time is bookable, there's an important thing we need to do as well, and that is to update your availability in your AttractWell system. Now, if you have your correct calendars connected, then you don't have to worry too much about fine-tuning your availability in AttractWell, because if you put the right blocks of time in that you know you'd like to be available, your calendar is going to be able to tell the system when you are actually available. Okay, so what we'll do here is make sure that all of our calendars that we use, including these ones that we just talked about, right? Your daily template, your work, right? Your daily template should be sufficient if you are marking yourself available or unavailable. But with your work, right, for these projects, if you want to make sure that that time is uninterrupted with appointments, then you're going to want to make sure to connect those calendars to AttractWell as well. And then in your booking types, you can adjust your availability according to the schedule that you have in mind, and then have your system check against your other calendars. Let's take a quick look at that. I know we're running just a little bit long here, but I promise we will be getting to you guys who requested help here in just a moment. All right, so in AttractWell, we're going to go over to my calendars, and I'll show you how I have this connected. So here I'm going to connect a calendar, and I'm going to use this just to read against my availability, right? So this isn't, nobody's going to book me on my daily template calendar, but my calendar in AttractWell is going to be able to see that I'm busy during the times that I've specified. So there's the email address I'm using with Google that has my daily template attached. I set up those permissions. And here we go. Here's all of my different ones. And here is the daily template. So I'm going to connect that one. And once that's connected, I'm actually going to go in here and rename this and just be sure to include read only. And this is just going to help you when you're pulling your calendars down from the drop down list, when you're setting up booking types, to keep you from having anyone book you on that calendar. So if I go to add booking type here, you can see that this is the calendar that I'm going to be using, but I want to make sure that I am running this schedule against my availability that's showing up on that calendar, right? There we go. There's my daily template read only. So when I have this attached here, even if I say I'm available 9 to 5, I know in that period of 10 to 2, I'm not bookable, but I don't have to go into AttractWell and make those adjustments, because this calendar is going to communicate that for me, right? And it's just going to make your life so much easier. All right, so we've got our calendar system set up. And if you want to have in-system reminders, like if you want AttractWell to remind you to do tasks that you have set up for yourself, you could also use this feature in AttractWell called follow-up plans. It's basically a to-do list. And typically that's a to-do list for a particular contact in your system. You can also apply them to your contact in AttractWell. So it's just a to-do list that is assigned to you, right? So it pertains to you and what you want to do. I'll show you really quickly where you can go find that in AttractWell and how you would apply that. So our follow-up plans, I'm actually just going to type this in. Follow up, that's going to be under your contact menu and under settings. But I'm just going to type follow up here, and that's another way to find it. So here we can actually create a plan. So this might be a marketing plan. That's actually a great one that you can do here, because sometimes you just need a reminder to do a particular type of task on a recurring basis or over a set period of days or weeks. So this is where you can say, oh, I don't know, post in Facebook groups, right? And then you can just add your different tasks here. And now once you have this marketing plan filled out here in your follow-up plans, you can find your own contact and you can apply this follow-up plan to your contact, which is pretty cool. And then there was one more question I think that I saw. I want to show you guys really quickly, managing your availability on the go. Let's just say, for instance, that something has come up, or I mean, here, for instance, I have a doctor's appointment, let's just say, that's personal. And I have that doctor's appointment during this bookable time here at 12:30 on a Friday. I'm going to make sure that this says busy, right? And then I'm going to say doctor and put in all of that detail, etc., right? What if I need to be out for an entire day? That's fine. What I like to do is double click up here, create a new event that is all day and that is busy, right? And then again, you can color code that however you choose, right? And so this way, your entire day in your bookable space on AttractWell, this day will no longer be available for anyone to book, right? Does that make sense? I'm excited to see what questions we have. And then I will be getting to you guys who are going to be working here one-on-one with me today. Brandy, I'm glad you like that. All right. Yeah, do please make sure if you had questions that they're going into the Q&A or I might miss them. Barb, I will be sending out an email tomorrow. I do want to make sure that I've got everybody on the same page in terms of time, and I super look forward to working with you in those cohorts and workshops. Okay, Rick, regarding managing productivity, what AttractWell processes are available to track calls, opened emails, and set related follow-up tasks? So you're going to find the majority of these are going to be contextual to your contacts specifically. So for instance, and these are all past actions on a contact. So bear with me just a moment. Let me make sure I am in a good account to share this type of information on a contact. And then I will show you. Okay, so I'm in the Jane account, which is a dummy account in AttractWell. And I'm going to go find me. Okay. All right, so this is a contact here. Your past actions are going to be here. So you'll be able to see when a message was sent. You'll be able to see if a message was opened. You will also see whether calls were booked, right? Your notes will be here. If they've registered on a page, it will be here. So this is where you're going to be able to track the previous activity of a contact. For your bookings specifically, you're actually going to find that information in your booked meetings. So you'll be able to see upcoming and past meetings, and then anyone who's on a call package, you can actually see a snapshot of people who are on call packages and which call they may be on or how many they have left. But again, for that specific contact, you're going to be able to read all of that information right here on the card, right? So if they're on a call package, for instance, do I have upcoming or past meetings with this person? So here's one here. So all of this is going to be on the contact card for that client. Okay. Oh, with me, Brandy, I'll send you an email. I think we have some things to chat about for the platform anyway. Okay, let's see. Oh, I'm so excited, Tanya. I hope that this is really helpful to you and that you're able to get it up and rolling quickly. I really do think that as someone who is more creatively oriented in terms of the way that I think and process, and thus is perhaps very distractible. I think that having this type of a framework in place allows for more creativity to be expressed. There is more room to grow inside of the lines that you draw, right? If it is truly the blankest of biggest blank canvases, what do? We deer in the headlights unless you are just coded differently. And if that's you, I would like for you to teach me. All right. Let me see. Carol, are you here by chance? You wanted to chat about a rebrand and let me see. This is super exciting stuff that we are working on here today with the feedback here and the live work review. Let's see. Rick says, can I get related notifications to upcoming tasks? So you should be getting a digest of things that you should be aware of that day from AttractWell. And just real quick, let me show you. If you aren't getting them, just make sure that you go over to contact settings and then to general, and make sure that you have this box checked right here. Send me a daily email of activity and to-dos. And you do have the ability for certain features in the system to ping you. So like, for instance, if a new lead comes in via a particular channel, like a landing page or a page, you can choose to get a notification and have that be something that's more immediate, but that's more like feature by feature. All right, is there a plan that includes a Zoom account with the AI feature that can take notes from our coaching calls, etc.? So Zoom's own native AI is not available at the enterprise level, which is what we have, but there are third-party AI tools for Zoom meetings that you can use. Crisp is one that I know Greg uses, and that's a really good one. I've used that one in the past. I've seen folks use Otter, which is another option as well. But as of right now, the Zoom Enterprise does not have that feature included. Okay, Carol, I'm going to bring you out to chat here quickly. Angeline, I'm going to bring you out as well. I know we have just a bit more to go through for yours. So bear with me. Thank you for your patience. And I'll be bringing you out here shortly. Hey, Carol.
Hi.
Hi. All right. So I understand you're interested in a little bit of a rebrand for your business, right?
Yes, I've previously been coaching mostly in health and wellness, and now I'm leaning more into leadership development, nonprofit fundraising, and helping educate folks in that arena. And so I came to AttractWell to set up a clean slate, build out a new platform. But I just don't know the best way to start phasing maybe one thing out, or if I should keep those things together, I just don't know a thing about rebranding. So I would love your best tips, because I've been known in the fitness industry, personal training for, 15 years, and have paying clients under that as well. So what are your best tips for that?
Yeah. So the top tip would be make sure that you're branding yourself. Because if your name is the brand that you're promoting, you never really have to rebrand, right? You just shift
Okay.
the conversation. So I would make sure that the name that you're using is not a business name, but it is your name, especially in your case, because we're talking about your expertise and you being known. I would shift from, the hierarchy being name of company and I sell stuff to I am the brand. Here's the stuff that I offer and I'm selling these things to
Okay.
you, right? So that way you're kind of creating branded pathways. And when someone arrives at your website, they can meet Carol, right? And they can hear what Carol's about, and that's for everybody. And then you can say, are you a this or are you a that? Right. And then
Okay.
this is what you've been doing. And that is, you're just speaking to, I think, ideologically, probably a very similar group of people if we're talking about values. But, the needs are slightly different. And so if you think about it, I mean, there's a lot of folks out there that are serving at different levels of an industry, right? Where you, are really helping the masses, which would be the case of what you're currently doing. And then, if you are this, then there are other solutions for you. So you're just creating another rung in the ladder.
Okay. That's a good way a good perspective. So yes, thank you so much for that.
Yeah. So yeah, this way as well, if you're branding yourself, it allows you to also create one master list in AttractWell with one website, one email address. You don't have to create a bunch of different things. You can segment that one list. There could be instances where you offer things in the future that could be, good for just about anyone. But you can still have the type of people that you've been serving and the people that you want to serve moving forward. And again, if you're branding yourself, phasing out of one offer is really no different from a business that offered item A that is now switching to item B. So yeah, I think that that's how I would look at it. If you're trying to make like a true clean break, like you don't want to do what you've been doing anymore, then this would provide you, I think, sort of a cleaner, simpler on-ramp to that.
Excellent. Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. Anything else?
No, that'll do it. I appreciate you so much.
Yeah, sure thing. Okay. All right, Angeline, are you good to go? Done feeding the critters? I'm gonna go ahead and allow you to talk. Just let me know if you're here and can hear me. If you're back at your device. Actually, there you are. Okay. Hi, can you hear me? I'll give you a moment to come back. Okay, Yulia says, I was just working on setting up my calendar for discovery call, was having trouble to connect the button for a discovery call and my calendar. Okay, yeah, so basically what you want to do, like the button for your discovery call, Yulia, is that something that you're offering like just on your website? Because if so, you're actually going to be doing that from a page in AttractWell. So if you want to actually offer your discovery call, maybe from maybe your homepage or something like this, or really just a page that you use for booking, you could, let's just say I'll use this one. If you're going to have a form on your page, under settings, leads, and fields and booking, you can actually connect a calendar right here and treat a landing page like a booking page. And so here in this case, I don't think I have a pop-up here on the page, but in this case, it would actually display your calendar. The other option would be to go to your booking types, to grab the link. So click Get Link. And then wherever you have your button on a page, you would simply paste that link as the URL, and it would just take you straight to a booking page like this one, which is also perfectly fine, right? So you could send them straight to this just by going Get Link. And then in the button on your page, you would put that URL that we've just copied here into that field. Angeline, are you back? I can't hear you. I wonder, Greg, can you say something so I know if my headphones are working?
Sure, yeah,
Okay.
I can hear you just fine for what it's worth.
Okay,
Okay,
cool.
awesome.
And I can hear you. Angeline, I don't know what's going on with the audio. Let me see. It looks like you're able to chat. It doesn't show your microphone engaging. So I think whatever device you're using isn't picking up you talking.
Hold on.
I got you.
Now?
Yes, I hear you.
Okay.
Hi.
Yeah, I've been using my microphone on my lapel and I don't have it in, so I had to switch on the side.
No
Okay,
worries,
I'm
no
ready
worries.
now.
All right. So we are celebrating your completion of a funnel today, correct?
Oh my God, it took a year. So I have to go back and learn everything.
Happy New Year.
Okay.
Excited for you.
Happy New
So
Year. Thank
tell
you.
me about where does the page that we should be going to in AttractWell to find your landing page?
It should say workbook landing page or
Okay.
self-audit workbook landing page.
Okay. This one?
I got them numbered, so yeah, there it is.
All right, perfect.
Okay, so
Ooh, all right. I love the
put that
copy.
in.
The copy is good. It's nice and
Okay.
clean. This is very easy to read. We've got a nice little pop-up here. Excellent.
Mhm.
Okay. No, this is very good. Okay. And
Okay.
then the page that we're going to after this.
It goes to the download page.
Okay.
Um,
Let me look. I want to look real quick because you mentioned me wanting me
Oh.
to see the campaign, right? As
yes,
well.
my message.
Yeah. So I'm gonna take. Oops, that's not what I wanted to do. I'm gonna take a look at the campaign, and then we're also going
Okay.
to go to this page and check. So this is where we're going after we opt in.
Mhm.
Oh,
So
excellent.
this
Large
is
copy up top.
um,
Brief
this is
video.
the video.
Excellent.
This
Got
is
you talking.
walking through. Oh no, this is horrible. I'm gonna redo that. But this is inviting them for. I know I hate this photo. Inviting them for a discovery call to help them with the workbook.
Okay.
And so that's what that is. That video is.
Okay, excellent. And do you have something that's timed to show up underneath here, or is it just this video?
Um, It's that video, but I don't think this one comes first. I'm trying to figure out what there was. Oh no, this does come first. Now, what do you mean by time?
Well, so we want to have something more than just this video here. You're probably giving a call to action here. Oh, you're
Yeah,
scanning a QR code.
yeah, at the end,
Okay.
but there should be something below as well, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay.
Below that
Let's
page.
go see.
So it
This
should
would
be
be
the
this one.
workbook down, step 3. No, step
Oh,
strategy call. Yeah, that's it. That's it.
okay.
There we
Okay.
go. Now
Okay.
there's
So
something below it. Is it?
now, so what, there actually isn't anything underneath this. So what's really important here, because this is
Okay.
an authority page, and the most important purpose of an authority page is to take someone who is ready right now and give them an opportunity to take next steps. Because your campaign is probably going to be encouraging them to book a discovery call with you throughout, right?
No, this is a discovery. Yes, yes. I thought you meant for sales. So that's why I didn't
Yeah.
do that, because so there's still a sales opportunity as well, because I don't have a sales page.
Well, no, actually what we're
So
doing here, because so when you have, and we'll talk more about this in the cohorts that we're running and in the new release of the client funnel challenge this month, but you have two options for this funnel. One is
okay.
if you're selling your time, which is what this is for, I assume, right? We're not selling a course. We are
Yes, to
actually
begin.
ideally,
Yes.
yeah, you're getting a new client. So the
Mhm.
sale on an authority page, if we're going to convert them onto a next step, isn't actually taking money. It's not selling anything. It's getting them onto that discovery call. So what we're doing is we're just capturing an opportunity. If somebody is ready enough right now, so they just said, oh yes, she seems super credible. I like the idea of this workbook. I want to get this workbook. And you're capturing their attention immediately. They've opted in for the workbook. So they like you well enough. And you're saying, hey, real quick, don't leave this page. Watch this 2-minute video. And in this video, you're saying, hey, you're here because of X, Y, and Z. And if this is you, book a call with me right now. And that's the call to action. That's what we need to put in a new section underneath this video, right? We want them to get on your calendar from this page.
Okay. You know what? I have that on the download page, so I should move it, because I have it where you can download it and book a call. So that's
all right.
Okay. Yep. Got it.
All right. And that is
I need to
3 download page. So you have that on the download page.
Yeah, and that's a video of the going through the workbook. But if you go further down right there, let's tackle the audit together.
Okay. Perfect.
Now, should that be above the fold, or?
So no, actually you're doing this right on the authority page by having this right here. I'm just copying in these details. So tired of running a business without a clear plan, start here to build a strategy. This is fine. Let's tackle your audit together and then book a strategy call. Here we go. That's all we needed to do. This is going to be on the authority page and on that download page. I just copied that over from your download page.
Oh, you did? Okay. Because I'm trying to figure out this workbook offer call page. This is the page that says wait. So it is on there. I'm trying to figure out if you're going through, did I do something wrong? Because before it just showed that video.
Right.
But
And
now,
but I've just adjusted it. You want to have on your download page and on the offer page, you want to have this, right? This compelling reason for them to book with you and the opportunity to book with you. So I've added
Gotcha.
that in, and you should be good to go.
Okay, so it was, okay, got it. Thank you.
Yeah, it's good to have it on both. All right, so let's
Okay,
take a look at
perfect.
this one. And this would be in the email, you're saying, here's the thing you opted into, right? And so
Right.
there's your video that goes over the resource. The resource is here, perfect. And you've
Yep.
got, hey, by the
Yes.
way, you could do it by
Okay.
yourself, but we could also do it together, right?
Yep.
And that's great. And what are we using here? Is this a form
That
on the
goes
page
to
or
my, I embedded
to
my
a,
Acuity into the AttractWell,
got you. Okay, so
into an
you haven't,
AttractWell page.
got you. So you haven't moved over to AttractWell scheduling yet.
Not yet, because I have my questionnaire completed on.
Got you. Okay.
Acuity,
One
and
step at a
that's
time.
another, I didn't want to hold up anymore.
Right. Yeah.
But
Yeah. Yeah,
I'm
for
eventually
sure.
gonna do that.
Yeah, absolutely. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. But that'll be, something to add to your future project planning. All right, here we
Okay.
go. Okay, so here, excellent. That's linked. Very good. Example of a client and a good link. Perfect. And so throughout here, you are offering a strategy call. You're sending them to, this doesn't appear to be linked. This is email 6. This doesn't appear to be hyperlinked,
okay.
by the way.
Okay, thank you.
But I'm going to copy this and then hit Command K. And then this is, what is this, book a call?
Mhm. That goes back to, oh, you're doing it. Thank you. Yeah, it's up further. Should be up further.
Call booking.
There it is. Call booking page.
Okay, there we go, paste. There we go. So that should be good to go. But yeah, I would double check your campaign just to make sure that you've got links where you're offering them.
Okay.
And that's it. Those are all of the components. So, I mean, essentially you've got compelling copy on this page. And then they go to the next page, they watch a quick video, they realize that they can work with you if they want to. They either take you up on that free call or they keep getting reminded that you're offering free calls. So that's it. Yeah, you got it.
So what happens after the 6th email? Do I just keep nurturing them with other content? Okay.
That's right. Yeah. So this is actually where, and I talk about this in some of our other training. I recommend generally to utilize an automation that will apply your general mailing list tag to a contact after they've been through your initial nurturing sequence. I would also say that just given the nature of the work that you do and how sometimes people need a little bit more time to trust someone with things like financial matters, I would actually encourage you to maybe even double the length of this campaign before you move them into a more general nurture sequence. Just providing more context, more stories. I think that in your particular use case, because we're talking about coaching, we're building a relationship, I think it's going to be more advantageous for you to have them on a nurture sequence a little bit longer than a week.
Okay, now just so you know, the finance is part of it, but it's all areas. It's like risk mitigation, it's marketing, it's all of the areas of business, but finance is where I use the insights.
For sure. Yeah, no, I think that this is generally speaking where we're dealing with something that is as critical to a business as their profitability, their marketing strategy, or how they handle their money. If you're going from new lead to let's talk about like the details of your business, it is beneficial, I think, just generally to have a longer nurture period. Sometimes
And
just,
how do I
sometimes
make it longer?
Oh yeah, you would just add more emails.
Okay.
So right now you're going 0, 1, 2, 3, 6. I would maybe start with that density over time, but then maybe drop 1 or 2 emails a week for a month, right? So you're spacing it out just a little bit more.
Okay. And I have in my head about whether I'm going to do the pitch for my coaching on the call, because I'm also going to be going over the workbook, but that shouldn't take too long, or should I send them to a pitch video after the call? So I'm torn
Nope,
between
you do it.
which
Nope,
to
you do that on the call.
on the call.
So
Okay.
yeah. So basically what you're doing is you're going to want to spend up to half of the call, maybe a little bit more if you really need to, but really needs to be about half the call, on the value, right? That's the value that you are putting forward, right? So you're working with them on that. And you could even set the intention at the beginning and say, you know, I'm going to spend this time with you. We're going to go through this. This is something that I'm, you know, offering on a complimentary basis as a way for us to explore whether or not we're a fit to work together further. And if I feel like we are a fit, at the close of our call, I'll share with some options with you for us moving forward. Does that sound good? Let them say yes, because they will. And then you know, you go through, you know, a fairly limited, right? Like you're not performing a true full audit of anything, right? Like you're giving as much away as is good for your business. And then of course, allowing that to just be proof that working with you could get them so much more, right? We got all this done in this amount of time. How do you feel? How would it feel to get all these other things done? You've already asked them about their goals. And then you offer those options to close them. Yeah, I would not, if you've gone through the trouble of connecting with somebody on a one-on-one call, your best opportunity to close them is on that same call or on a follow-up call. And it's never going to be a video, because it's the relationship that they've built with you and that trust that's going to have them saying yes, and not a recording.
Okay, and the way that I designed the workbook is just sort of a key areas of each of those 11 operational areas, and they just check a box if they have what's described. So what that does is let me know what I can focus on in the sale, because if they don't check certain boxes, I know that they're weak in those areas, and that's a selling point.
Yeah, absolutely. That's right.
Okay. And so the other is, if they don't bite right then there is a different sequence they go into for continuing to nurture versus sending them over to sign up if they agree.
Yes.
That
This
right?
is, well, so I wouldn't put them on a sequence after the call. Like if you go off the call with them and they don't close, then you're going to want to maybe move them over to a nurture sequence, like a general nurture sequence. Part of the benefit of utilizing the AttractWell booking system for this is that all of those campaign messages that you're sending out, should they book a call with you, you can actually have, when they book a call, that campaign stops sending, right? Because if they've taken you up on the call, we don't need to keep selling the call to them, right? But you'll have to do that manually, so long as you have a third-party booking, like an acuity in place, right? So you'll need to remove this campaign from that contact. And then, yeah, like there could be maybe a post-discovery call campaign that you create for folks who didn't convert. This might be one that in the future, you could create something like this that maybe focuses on selling courses or things that are more leveraged, maybe more affordable for a client who's not ready to work with you. But what I would do until then is to just, they book that call with you, move them off of that campaign for this funnel, because they have done what we wanted them to do, which is to book. And then you can maybe tag them with general mailing list, so that as you're sending out like a weekly nurture to anyone who's on your list, they would be included in that.
So they can get my blog posts, for example.
Correct.
And so I have 11 blog posts that coincide with 11 operational areas, and each area in that blog post, I refer at the bottom to the landing page. So here's more in this workbook on this subject that can help you. So that's what I've started in terms of content. I'm also working to do, I'm setting up my graphics for my podcast, and the podcast is going to be more of a storytelling, so that I can identify the strategies within the stories that get a person to their goals. And I'm starting with my stories because I have a lot of them. But I'm also going to use other stories, client stories, anonymous.
That's awesome.
is it possible to have more than one lead magnet at a time?
Oh, gosh, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, so if I still have that KPI magnet, I can develop content for that and just have them go to that magnet.
Mhm. Yeah,
lead
yeah, just
magnet. Okay.
make sure that you're basically creating the same system around each one. And it doesn't
Yes.
matter if they've opted into one. It may be that the next one, like, hey, I'll hop on a call with you and talk about your KPIs. That might be the one that makes them say yes to working with you, you know?
Excellent. Okay, perfect. So, okay, thank you so much.
Yeah, you've got this figured out and it looks really
Thank
good. You should be proud of your work because
Thank you.
it's excellent.
Thank you very much. Yeah, I'm glad. I mean, I was frustrated, but now I'm glad because I didn't want to go in blind because I wanted to make a good first impression and not be jumbling all over the place. So thank
Well,
you.
you've got it. You've absolutely got it. I know you've put so much work into this and
I
yeah,
did. I
excellent
had
work.
to go back to school, learn all of this stuff. So yes.
The good news is that what you have been able to execute is a repeatable formula. Creating that
Yes, it
system where
is.
you've got an offer on a landing page, you've got the authority page set up the same way, you've got the offer page set up, like it's, once you've got that system down, you can repeat this for as many of these things as you want. And the thing is, I mean, I think most people should trial one new lead magnet a year. If you have, you know, if you are paying for traffic or you've got a big list, then you could get away with maybe testing, you know, 2 or 3 or 4 a year.
Okay.
But for most of us,
Gotcha.
just trying out a new one a year is a good call, because you never know what's going to work, and then over time, like, you're able to use all of them, right? And you never know which
Okay.
one of them is going to be the one that makes the people on your list activate. So yeah,
Excellent. Thank you so much.
sure thing. Makes me so happy to see that growth. I hope that that is a sign of things to come for you guys. If you purchase a seat in our cohorts, then be looking out for a message from us. I'm going to send one out tomorrow to you guys, and we will start scheduling those, getting those on the calendar. Excited to work with you. And of course, we'll be back same time next week. Have a great week, everybody.